Hi, you're watching Bike Routes of Brum, a channel dedicated to finding safe cycle routes across Birmingham. In this video we'll be cycling from the city centre to Acocks Green, and in the route we'll be using mostly quiet streets and cycle paths, and it should take about half an hour to cycle. The route passes along the Bradford Street cycle path and then follows the relatively quiet streets through Sparkbrook before ending up in Acocks Green. Of course, you could always follow the canal, which is probably a slightly more direct route, but I thought I'd film this one that uses roads instead for those who are not too confident cycling in the dark along the canal. I've put a link to the route into the description below so you can download the GPX file for yourself. The route in the GPX file is slightly better than the one I actually filmed, as it avoids the whole moat lane section that I'll discuss later in the video. So we're starting at our usual spot of Chamberlain Square and making our way down through Victoria Square and then down Hill Street. I've always used Chamberlain Square as the starting point just because they were doing loads of work on Victoria Square, and basically I can't be bothered to change it now. We go past a lesser spotted bin lorry, as you just seen there, and make our way down Hill Street over this crossing and past New Street. Now the route that I've filmed, I end up taking the road round to Station Street, and it's a bit convoluted. There's actually a better way. If you just carry on down over these over those lights there and just follow the road down past Hurst Street right down to the bottom, you can then take a left and kind of follow the road round. If you have a look at the GPX file that I've attached, it will make more sense, but it probably makes a lot more sense than using this route, because on this way we have to go up onto Edgbaston Street, and this way can be quite busy if you're going along the day. I filmed this on Easter Sunday morning, so it was absolutely dead, but if it's Saturday kind of mid-morning, then this place is going to be heaving. So the way that I've put in the GPX file is probably better. Now we come over to this section here, and despite this being the way to get to the Bradford Street cycle lane, which is where we're going, we have to cross over Moat Lane here, and technically meant to dismount, I think. This bit is a shared path, I believe, but it's all a bit of a mess. I'm not really sure that this was the way. It seems to be the way it was pointing pedestrians, so I figure, well, we're going the same way. You cross over here. Now if you wanted to go to Digbeth, you'd follow that road round, but we're going to join this little path here, driving to the oncoming cars and onto this cycle lane. Now I filmed this cycle lane coming down the hill before, but I haven't filmed it going up, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to show what doesn't work about this cycle lane. Already you can see those big massive bumps there. Now if we're going uphill, we have to then cross the road here, so there's a little ramp to get us up. Now there's no lights or anything, we just have to kind of guess when the cars stop and then cross the road and onto the cycle path. Now we'll see quite a few instances here where it's fine coming down because obviously you're going with the traffic, but because we're cycling against the traffic here, if you want to cross a junction, not that one but some of the other junctions, you have to kind of join the path and then then wiggle round and then use a pedestrian crossing. It's all a bit weird, as you can see here. So it forces us up onto the pavement here and then round the corner, where again there's no crossing or anything, like no button to push. You just have to kind of guess that the cars are going to stop and look at all the other lights, and then it does allow you to rejoin. Now I think this cycle lane was built during COVID and it was kind of hastily put together, so that explains why there's massive bumps at the bus stops, because they basically had to just keep the cycle lane level with the pavement in those sections. But it's pretty horrible. If you're coming down, they're massive, so you end up, if you're going fast and you don't have like suspension on your bikes, you will just plough through them and you could hurt yourself. But I've heard that there are some plans to make this better, but I'm not sure when that will be, so I wouldn't hold your breath. At the moment that's the best you're going to get. So we're here now, and again this is another I think you meant to dismount, but I mean I didn't. And we make our way over here and drop onto Old Camp Hill. Now we're then going to take a left onto Trinity Terrace, and it's a lot nicer cycling down this bit than it is to cycle up, which I've done on other videos. We're going to hop up onto the pavement here and down this little ramp and go across this crossing. Now if you wanted to go to the canal, you could always take a left here, and that would take you straight to Acocks Green along the canal. We're going to take a right and follow this kind of cycle lane, or not cycle, like quiet route. If this was London, this would definitely be classed as like one of the quiet routes that they had. As we're in Birmingham, you just kind of have to follow the little blue signs and assume you're in the right place. It does look like something out of 28 Days Later. I hope that this is due to the fact that we're in the middle of the bin strike and that's not how it normally looks. But we're going to go over now and cross this little road here, and you can see that it is marked for bikes, so you know you're kind of in the right direction if you're following those bike symbols. Now as we come up this hill, we are entering Sparkbrook, and as we cross over we have the old Georgian manor. I had to look, it's just called Farm. The area around it's called Farm Park, and the thing just the building just seems to be called Farm. It used to be owned by the Lloyds family of the Lloyds banking group. Samson Lloyd, I think, was the founder, and he owned the place. I didn't actually realise that Lloyds was founded in Birmingham. So that's one thing we can be proud of, I guess. I don't know how bad Lloyds are as a bank, to be fair. We cross over onto Grantham Road, and we're going to follow this road now down and then round. It seems fairly quiet at the moment, this street. I don't know how it is most of the time. Again, it was a Sunday morning and Easter Sunday, so I didn't encounter too many cars, and the way it's all set up, I can't imagine cars are going to be absolutely razzing it around here, so I think it should be a fairly safe way to cycle. You've got bumps in the road as well, which are going to stop people from absolutely caning it down as well. The only thing I did notice a lot of was badly parked cars. It's probably not going to be too big of an issue for you on a bike. You just watch out for people opening doors. Now, as we turn onto Osborne Road, this is where I saw some absolutely shocking parking. People just, like you've already seen back there, just cars abandoned in the road, people parked diagonally on the pavement. It's crazy. But like I said, I can't imagine this is going to affect you too much on the bike. It's just something to be aware of, especially with these cars that are just like abandoned in the middle of the road. Just watch out for the doors, because you never know if people are going to just open them. It's quite a long road as well, but because it's it's like a dead end, but you can get through on bikes. I can't imagine this is going to be too bad to cycle along on a regular weekday, which makes life easier. Now, for those who are kind of trying to work out where we are and get your bearings, we are basically coming up to Warwick Road now, and all the weaving around we've been doing has basically been to avoid cycling along Warwick Road, which is not the nicest to cycle along, and it's quite busy, and having driven down it, some of the driving is shocking. So we're going to cross over this road here and drop onto this kind of what was originally Warwick Road before the surface road was. Now, I think you're allowed to cycle on this pavement. It looked like it was set up in a way that would allow you to, and there's a little sign here that says you can, but I don't know if that's just for this crossing. Now, as we cross over, you can see the fire in the distance, and we cross over and we are coming up onto Mountford Street. And again, if you're following this, it is actually signposted. If you look out for these little bike symbols on the floor, and as you come to each junction, there are little blue signs mostly dotted around that will kind of lead you to where you've got to go. And that was actually how I ended up planning the route in the first place. Now we're going to take a right now onto Percy Road. Now just be careful with this one, because it does come just outside that roundabout, so people come off the Warwick Road and shoot off down here. Now it's meant to be 20 miles an hour. You know what it's like in Birmingham. Do people drive at 20 miles an hour along these? No, not really. It does have some speed bumps dotted around it though, so hopefully that should make it better. Again, I filmed this on a Sunday morning, so I don't know what it's like in the rest of the time. It seems quite busy with parked cars on either side though, which does tend to mean it's nicer to cycle along, just because people can't absolutely bomb it down here. Now, one thing I did notice as I was cycling down here, and something to be aware of, was bits of broken glass around. Now, I don't know if it's just because, like I said before, we're in the middle of the bin strike when this is being filmed, but it was just something to be aware of, so you don't get a puncture or something around here. Now, if you are looking to exploit some people and get cheap labour, this is obviously the place to get it, as we take the left onto Foreman's Road. Again, not a particularly pleasant road to cycle along. It is meant to be 20 miles an hour. I didn't feel like anybody that passed me was cycling at 20 miles an hour, and the fact that people are all parked up on the side but like properly on the pavement suggests to me that people do go quite fast down this road, even though they're not meant to. When I put this route into commute, it suggested that I actually carry on down the Warwick Road for a little bit, because then there's a cycle path on Battery Way, but I didn't think that people would want to cycle along Warwick Road for any amount of time. It doesn't look like you can cycle on the pavement further on, so this seemed to be the route to take with the kind of shared bike symbols in the road. It's something that definitely needs to be addressed though. If the city do want to kind of make people cycle around more, they have to look at these places and try and make these routes better to cycle. Now, I decided to cycle through Readings Lane Park. I don't know why, in hindsight. Just go to the end of the road, take the roundabout and take a right onto the lane that you're going to come up to now, onto Readings Lane here. It was cycling through the park. That was pointless. And the roundabout's like a little mini roundabout. It's absolutely fine to cycle around. Now we come up to the left-hand turn that we're going to make onto Spring Road, and we're going to follow Spring Road basically all the way to the end. Now this little stretch here is kind of quite nice residential bit. Doesn't look like it's going to be too busy, but just be aware as it does go on. You end up merging onto, well, Spring Road kind of opens out and merges with another bit, and it's not the particularly nice bit to cycle along. Now this roundabout, people I think can absolutely storm it across, so just kind of be aware. The road surface along this little bit of Spring Road is pretty horrible. I think it could definitely do with a touch up, but then this bit here, as we come round that road, it's still Spring Road, but when you're coming across it, just be aware, because I think people do go quite fast along it. I think there was a cycle lane on that way, and that leads onto that Battery Road bit that I was talking about. Now, because they're building this big housing estate here, I don't know if that's going to help traffic and slow things down a little bit, or whether it's just going to encourage more people to drive. But we're right next to Spring Road train station now, for those who are looking to get their bearings, and we're coming up to Summer Road and the kind of bit just before Acocks Green. We're going to hop up onto this zebra crossing that's also for bikes, and we can use this multi-shared use path and go past the Lidl and then up to this Toucan crossing, where we're going to cross over and make our way towards Acocks Green. Now we can cycle along this path for a little bit, but there's not really a place to drop down from what I could see, so you just have to kind of bunny hop off the curb onto this road, and it's quite a nice residential road. I can't imagine it being too busy with cars. It doesn't seem like the most direct route. I'm not sure what the speed limit is along here, but it feels like it's not too bad to cycle along. But again, as I've said multiple times in this video, massive caveat that this was filmed on a Sunday morning, like most of my videos are. So do take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Now, the road that we're coming up to get onto Acocks Green, we're actually heading for the centre in the roundabout. So we take a left onto this Shirley Road here, and I got a bit lost, which is why I weaved my way out into the traffic before I realised where I was. Now, this road feels quite quiet, but I think because it's off a major roundabout, people probably do bomb it. We'll hop up at here now, and we have arrived at Acocks Green Library, where we're ending the video. Thanks again for watching the video. I hope that you found it useful. If you have any other ideas for alternate routes or want me to mention anything that I've forgotten, please feel free to comment below. I do try to upload these videos as much as I can, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any routes. Thanks again for watching.